My name is Abiodun of Syria Project Services. So today is a day 22 of the live video challenge. I started this thing on May 1st. Isn't crazy? Today is May 22, and it looks like I'm struggling right now, but you know what? I'm gonna see this to the end. So today I touched on a topic which I call a Kaizen category of barriers. So, which is these barriers that we create by ourselves. And I don't mean to say to blame that we are creating this. I'm just saying this is something that is internal. It's something a lot of the times we don't have control over it. So I'm going to be diving deep into what I call the psychological barriers. Basically, is what it is. So when we go through a job search, there are a lot of stressful situations that we actually go through. When we go for these interviews, we have this anxiety. Of going to an interview, being interviewed. We prepared. Even at that, we still get nervous when you're answering questions. And then, when these disappointments also happens, when you get this random feedback, not even helping you with how to improve if you were not selected. You go through these disappointments as well. Of course, as you go through this cycle, there's this excitement of another opportunity. Okay. So as you go through these cycles of emotions, ups and downs, and you do that for over a period of 3 to 6 months, okay, what really happens is that these then, you know, it becomes a situation where this becomes your routine. Okay, the situation there is that these ups and downs, these emotions, they are actually chemicals, that are happening here in our brain. If it's happening for too long, we get hooked on these chemicals. So like I said, we don't have control over this. This is just our sympathetic nervous system actually responding to the stress that we're going through. But if it happens over a long period of time, you have a situation where you are hooked to this chemical, and what you really need to do to trigger these chemicals is just to think about this bad situation you went through, or these disappointments, or you worry about how you're gonna get a job soon, in Canada. And the moment you start those thoughts, these chemicals will start getting released in your brain, and this basically is feelings, feelings of sadness, okay, about the situations, feelings of hopelessness, okay, about not having gotten a job yet in your profession in Canada. Generally, people who have this, situation that you will call the, cognitive distortions. In extreme cases, generally speaking, you would procrastinate. You're not even interested in applying to these jobs anymore because they're causing you so much stress. Okay, and you're just giving. Okay, so when you have this type of a situation, it is extreme. You don't want to get to that stage, is what I would say, and that's why I'm talking about this situation. But if anybody is listening to me and you happen to have that situation, is what I actually call job search depression. The symptoms might be similar to the regular depression, because I've heard a particular case where a friend of mine told me a guy who is going through the job search challenges and then he's having suicidal thoughts. If you are in this particular situation, you need to get help. Please. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a therapist. I'm just speaking from experience, personal experience. If you know you're going through this, you know this yourself, please reach out, to specialist, your medical doctor is there. Speak with somebody who is close to you to let them know this is the challenges you are having. So now to those who are still going through job search and they notice that they're having this situation where you're having, you're not confident even in your own capability anymore just because of these rejections you're experiencing here in Canada with job search. What I will tell you is this, there's a way this thing works in your subconscious that you need to pay attention to it. And there are some things you need to do. Yesterday I talked about upgrading your mindset. Basically, this is what you have to do. The first thing is you need to upgrade your mindset to a Kaizen mindset, a growth mindset. Okay, because struggle is certain, success is not. So you just want to make sure that you approach job search with a growth mindset, what I call Kaizen, continuous improvement. Day in, day out, you're improving on daily basis. That should be your goal. That should be the type of goals you set. And the way to do that is one of those tools that I introduced in the beginning of my video recording. I talked about journaling. Okay, because when you go for interviews and you start, you feel like you didn't really perform as you should have, and you start having these negative thoughts, what it does to you, it's not good for your subconscious. You want to journal it. You want to write these things down. The questions, you want to write down the answers. You want to ask intelligent questions about, you know, this particular situation, or your experience at that interview, rather than having negative self-talks about how bad you perform and all that. That shouldn't be the case. You should journal. That way you don't do the opposite of these negative thoughts that a lot of people would have when they go for interviews and they feel like they didn't answer the questions properly. That way you address this situation that I'm talking about, these psychological barriers. The other thing you want to do, basically is also being mindful. Mindfulness. Basically, mindfulness, it is broad, but the way I will explain it is actually staying more in your subconscious. There's a lot of energy or power in our subconscious that we're not using. A lot of our time is just logic that we're applying, which is in our consciousness, and it is not helping us. This is the way we engage in this self-talk in the first place. To apply mindfulness, there are some simple things you can do. It's about practicing deep breathing. It's one basic mindfulness, being present. Just addressing these things that you're going through, just having some thought, being by yourself and knowing that okay, there are some of these thoughts going through your mind. So this is what mindfulness is about, and also breathing, because these actually help you to control those psychological issues that we just talked about now. The other thing I want to believe you can do is also exercising. It helps a lot. Especially in the subconscious. When you do exercise, it helps you to be mentally alert. Some of these issues are addressed, but ultimately the growth mindset is the one key thing you need to take away from my video today, that you need to apply growth mindset, because you should already know that success is not guaranteed. Even in life, success is not guaranteed. It's only struggle that is guaranteed. So what I advise is this: try to, as much as possible, to learn from what you are doing in terms of your job search on a daily basis. And this is why I advise using the job search journal. Okay, so you know that when you go for these interviews the next time, you are doing better than you did in the previous interview. As long as you can do that, you'll be getting better. So that's what I will talk about today. Tomorrow, I hope to extend this to some other form of psychological barriers, the fear of rejection, of failure, and all those things. I hope to talk about that tomorrow, but I hope this helps somebody. Okay. Please like, share, comment, and if you do have people who probably are going through this, please share with them, so that they can make use of this information, because there's no point, not having those people who actually need this information to have access to it. Okay, so that's all I'm going to be talking about today. You have a great night. Okay, bye bye.